Welcome to The Scholar's Guide, a podcast where we explore powerful stories of how access to opportunity and strong community transforms lives. I'm your host, Brianna Brown, and founder of the B&B Foundation, a nonprofit organization focused on empowering tomorrow's leaders to meet their full potential in college and beyond. Okay. Hey, everybody. So my name is Brianna Brown, and welcome to The Scholar's Guide. Today, I'm here with Red Young. Red, thank you so much for joining us today.
For sure. Glad to be here.
Yes, glad to have you back in the dojo.
Dojo.
Right?
Where it all started.
Exactly. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe even a little bit about your origin story and what got you interested in your career choice?
Definitely. Okay, so my name's Red. Well, my first name's Jared. That's where Red comes from. But I am a journalist and a community builder. I do a lot of different stuff, as Bri and I were talking about before. I have a health company that is a wellness and community-driven platform called Down to Earth. So I create content that helps people be healthier. Whether that's newsletters, I have a Down to Earth newsletter that comes out once a week. I have a podcast. I have two podcasts. One covers health and wellness. The other one covers individuals and other figures and leaders and whatnot. And I'm also a wellness coach. So I teach people how to sleep better, how to eat properly, how to just live more within community, which is how I think health and wellness is most developed, is through the lens of a community. And I'm also an organizer for tenants in New York City. So I'm a big believer in housing as the foundation of health. So I just basically teach tenants how to take up their rights and assert themselves as tenants, because we have a lot of rights that people don't really know about. So the underlying thing of all of this is that health is my thing, and I think it comes in different forms, and I just try to build those different blocks for people to come together and be healthy and happy.
I love that. And there's a lot there, and I'm really excited for us to kind of talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
So maybe start with kind of what got you interested in maybe in some of those fields, in journalism specifically, and what do you think about the way you grew up that maybe informed that in that choice?
I grew up in Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan. So the way I described Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan back when I was growing up, so like late 90s, early 2000s, it was like the internet as we know it now. So a lot of different figures, a lot of different flashing lights and entertaining things going around all over the place. But you're just kind of like walking in the street, and behind all of that is people. Yeah. So I was just very interested and invested in people from the time I was young, because there were just so many around from all over the world. Right. You know, Times Square is the crossroads of the world. And it's like there's probably every ethnic group in one place at one time, you know, and probably nowhere else in the world is like that. So
best city.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what really, you know, molded me, is the fact that I was able to just constantly see different people and different perspectives and cultures and whatnot. And so being interested in people made me ask questions, and asking why can get you a million different answers. And that's what I love, is just finding out things about people. So naturally that led me to be a journalist. Right. Okay. And I've always been a writer, you know, very analytical. So I think that comes hand in hand with like writing things down, making your thoughts sort of like real once you put them on paper. Yeah. And then making your thoughts and your words real is one thing, but I think taking action is the next step. And I think being a journalist is what gave me that sort of springboard to take action, because now my words and my reporting, even sometimes my opinions and my beliefs, shape that of others. And whether it's people's beliefs or policy or just a cause being furthered, my words now have big influence on action. And that's how you get things done. So it was kind of like a progression of like, I like to read, I like people, I like writing. Okay, now what? What do I do with that? Right. Am I just going to like read books and write my own literature? That's fine. But I like to do stuff and build stuff. So being a journalist is the first step to doing that from from my perspective.
Okay, I got you. So I guess when you kind of learned this about yourself in high school, how did it kind of inform where you went to school? And tell us a little bit about what it was like maybe that first year in college.
Okay, so I'll rewind it a little bit. I'll start when I was in 8th grade. So I went to public school in the city. I went to MS 104, and when I show people the place that I went to middle school, they're like, "Is that a jail?"
Oh God.
And I'm like, "No," but interestingly enough, I mean, the public school system is designed the same way as the incarceration system.
Talk about it.
So it literally looks like a jail, and it also operated like one. It was not a very safe school, I guess. The academics were kind of passive or whatever. But that's like most public schools in New York. So I was there, and I was kind of led astray by like my environment, and I needed structure, and I liked sports, and the best place for that was a private school, and that's where I went to high school. It was a private school. It's called Xavier High School. And if it were not for that school, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah.
And I don't know who I would be, because a lot of my identity and my spirit was developed through that school.
Yeah.
So it's a Catholic school, but they're Jesuits. The Jesuits are Catholics who are very service driven. They feel that the closest you can be to God is through serving his people directly. The slogan of Xavier is "Men for Others."
Okay.
Which is just like, an intrinsically sacrificial mode of being, which is kind of just the way that I am, and it resonates with me. And I think back then that resonated a lot as well, even though I was kind of astray, as I was saying. But it gave me structure, it gave me discipline, it gave me academic rigor, and I would not have had that anywhere else.
Okay.
Straight up. And it was also a college prep school, which is a big distinction from just like, any other kind of high school.
Yeah, for sure. You have more opportunities, maybe your counselors are a little more involved. Yeah.
They were preparing us to go to college. And, back then, I think now college is like a really standard thing for a lot of people. Times have changed a lot. Like, I graduated high school 10 years ago. And back then, college was kind of like a prestige, like an option that's like, okay, this comes with a lot, and you're going to have to do a lot just to even get in. And then you're going to have to leverage your entire financial future on whatever success
18.
you
exactly.
get.
Yeah.
So back then it was kind of like, I'm the first in my family with college and all that stuff. But back then it was kind of just like, okay, what is my goal with going to college? They helped me figure that out. They were like, okay, well, you like writing, you like sports, maybe you want to be a sports journalist. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I like, social causes, and I was always into like civil rights and whatnot. I'm like, okay, I'm going to, make a change, make a difference through that.
Yeah.
And so they really helped me in the right direction with that. And then the discipline of just like writing, like actually writing an essay. That's a really challenging thing to do if you've never done it. And it takes a long time to develop that. And that's a lot of what we did, was like learn how to actually write. So in college, it was kind of a breeze, honestly. Like my high school was so challenging and demanding.
Yeah.
Combined with the sports that were also very challenging and demanding. I didn't have any time to, like mess around. It was like strictly business. And I was like, like 15. So by the time I got to college, it was like, y'all telling me that I can have like 4 classes a week, and I just got to hand in the homework, and it doesn't even matter if it's good or not.
Right. And do I have to go to class or?
Yeah, like there's an option to not go to class.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, in college, I did my best, and I did well, and it was very enjoyable and easy from an academic standpoint, because it was like, oh, this is my choice. I can choose the classes that I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was like really big too. It was like, oh, I have autonomy in what my destiny is, pretty much. And so college was kind of easy in that way, but there's a lot of things I would have done differently and that I would have taken advantage of. But from an academic standpoint, it was just kind of like, I know what I want for my career, and I know how to get there using the academic leverage.
Right. Okay. So maybe talk a little bit more about maybe what clubs or organizations you were in, or what you leveraged to kind of propel yourself to the next step, like once you graduated. Because I feel like sometimes when you're focused, when you're like, this is exactly what I'm here to do, I'm here to get a job, or I'm here to become a doctor, whatever that is, you kind of have to build your own plan. So talk to us a little bit about
it's like a ladder system that you build.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to keep using this differentiation between now and when I was in college.
Yeah.
So in college now, kids know exactly what they got to do to get something.
Yeah.
Athletes know how to train, how to eat, how to get recruited. There's TikTok tutorials. I didn't know next to nothing about how to get things done.
Yeah.
There was no answers, and there was nobody in my family telling me like, here's what you should do to get that.
Yeah.
It was like all hearsay almost. It's like, oh, it's who you know, or like, you gotta just, whatever, just like flimsy advice.
Lucky. Yeah.
You get lucky,
like
pretty much.
Yeah.
And now it's like there's like very strict guidelines on how to do it. I didn't have that. And so in college, I didn't take advantage of the clubs and organizations like how I should have. I was involved with the student newspaper on like a intermittent basis.
Yeah.
I also had a very different approach and mindset while I was in college. A lot less of a mature mindset.
Okay.
I guess I just was like too cool for it. Not like too cool, but just like, I got it. Like, I know what I'm capable of. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Which that's not the right attitude necessarily. I mean, it worked out for me just because like, different things worked out. But if I could do it again, or if I had to do it again, I would be more involved and like take advantage of the things available to me, because I didn't. There was a radio club. I wanted to do talk radio from the time I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I didn't go because whatever reason, like, you're still a kid in college. So you got to realize like your inhibitions and a lot of the things that you do and don't do are driven by childhood patterns.
Right.
And it's like, well, what's stopping you from doing things is probably the same things that stopped you from doing things before.
Yeah.
And so I was like fully committed to like doing my own thing back then. I wouldn't do it that way now, and I don't. I take advantage of every opportunity that comes to me now. But back then I didn't do that. So the way that I set myself up is like, I'm going to get really good grades and be an undeniable writer. If you need me to write, you're going to read my stuff and be like, okay, well, there's no question. You can write. There was no GBT back then. Like, nobody is writing stuff besides me.
Yeah.
So I made it a thing to write online and build a blog and send it out to whoever wanted to read it. So my senior year, this is a huge lesson for everybody. Like, this is exactly how you get things done. So my senior year, my journalism professor sent out an email of 3 different internship opportunities. One of them was, I think, like a bilingual organization, like some kind of reporter. The other one was this sports magazine that was unpaid. And the third one was at NBC. And so I saw it and I was just kind of like, yeah, all right. Like, I don't know. I have other things to think about. Like, whatever I was thinking about at the time.
You said this was senior year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it still passed my mind. Like, that's the mentality that I had, is just like,
senior year,
I got it no matter what. And I know it's going to work out. It's a really arrogant way to do it. But I saw that and just kind of passed it over. A couple weeks later, I was like, you know what? Let me apply. I got an email right back from NBC. It's already been filled. Whatever. Thanks for applying. I'm like, you know what? Now I really want that internship, because who did y'all fill it with?
Yeah. What do you mean it's not me? Yeah.
Exactly. And so I actually ended up applying to the sports magazine internship that was unpaid. I was doing a lot of writing. I was writing 5 or 6 articles a day.
Sheesh. Yeah.
On live sports, which is very challenging.
Yeah.
And that's while I was in school. So while doing that, I was really driven to get that NBC internship. I found who the program manager was.
How did you find that?
I was doing my research. Like, when I want something, like, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
So I figured out who was in charge of it. I had my professor give me a little recommendation. I compiled my work that I was doing with the sports magazine, and I emailed this guy, John Bayada. You
still remember his name?
Oh, I know for sure. Like, yeah, it was one of those things. I'm like, I'm gonna get this because I'm gonna prove that I'm a good writer.
Yeah.
And if that's what they need, like, I'm gonna be that. So he replied to me and was like, you have an error or a typo in this one. He was like, I remember clearly, he was like, you say they were in the midst of the season, but it's only week 3. The midst means it's like, towards the middle. And I'm like, okay, like you're it was like a jabbing, like a spar fest a little bit. I'm like, okay, that, like, I like to play the grammar games. Okay. I liked it. It was like healthy competition because he's also the one hiring for this.
Yeah.
So as I went through the internship, I'm getting better at writing. I'm corresponding with him. He's like giving me feedback and stuff like that. And then when it came time, I got an email from them saying, we want to interview you for the internship. And, once I get an opportunity like that, like, I'm going to get it. So I went through with it, got the internship. That kind of just started my ladder of, like, the hiring process. Like, I did the internship. I got hired at CNBC. And then from there, I just, like, did different stuff. I'll get to it later. But that was only possible because I believed in myself and I was persistent with something that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I also found the person that could give me that advantage. And so it's an unconventional route. It can be very stubborn and arrogant to do it that way. Almost like hubris, like that could have been my downfall, is like, I didn't get hired anywhere. And I'm just like, like a senior in college.
Origin story changes.
Exactly. But yeah, that's why I'm also super thankful to John. Like that put me on for sure. Like,
right.
But it wasn't like, my dad's friend is going to hire me at his firm.
Yeah.
He was a guy that was like, nah, like, fix your writing. Like, you're coming with that energy. You didn't apply. You missed the deadline. Like, come correct. Right. So I'm like, all right, bet. Like that. I do like that. Like, I like to get better. I like to hear critical feedback. Like, I need that.
Yeah. And I think that's important too. Like, so I heard 2 things. The first is like this tenacity to make sure that whatever it is that you're looking to get, that you're going to find every possible avenue to get there. Like, I have another friend who's a writer, and he told me that he would send in email after email after email to all these different publishing houses just to try to get that. And for every single no that he got, all he needed was that one yes. So I think there's this that we try to tell the students all the time. It's like, look, you might not want it bad enough.
Exactly.
Like, it takes work.
That's the thing, is like, I didn't want anything bad enough until I realized, like, oh, even they're willing to tell me no. Like, that's what I needed, stupidly enough. Like, oh, NBC is going to tell me no? Right. Like, bet. Like, I'm going to show them. Yeah. Like, it's very headstrong. But, like, that's what I needed to realize. Like, oh, okay, like, if you try and if you're persistent, you get the things that you want. And, from there on, I started doing that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So, all right. So now you have this internship at MSNBC. This is while
CNBC.
CNBC.
Yeah, which is like the business news side of NBC.
Yes. And you're still in school while doing this internship, or was it summer internship?
I was at NBC while still in school.
Okay.
Doing news gathering, which is like, you basically find elements, you get phone calls, oftentimes after tragic things. Just big news stories. You get eyewitness reports, photos, so that it can go on nightly news or like wherever NBC programs at. So I was doing that for a little bit. And then this is another thing, that if you want something, like, don't just go for it. Like, you got to be thoroughly prepared for it. I went to do a news associates program, which is like the most prestigious program in NBC. Like, it's a rotational program. You learn all the different skills and whatever. Like, you just come out being just like this prime news person. And I wanted that, but I didn't want it bad enough, because I went through the interview process. I did really well. And halfway through, I'm like, oh, like, I'm actually progressing through this. How much do I really want this? And now I'm like, okay, yeah, I should want it, because now I'm halfway there. but I didn't want it that bad from the beginning. I was just doing it because they told me to do it. They were like, oh,
Yeah.
you'd be great for this. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But once it came down to the last interview, and the last interview was super intimidating. It's like, it's you and a whole table of news and corporate executives and news directors and editors and all these people who are grilling you, like for real, asking you like some real intense, like judgment based questions on the spot, which like for good reason, like this is the news.
Right.
I mean, back then, this was 2019. So like news media actually really mattered a lot and had a lot more influence than it does now, because it's been kind of like hollowed out by, corporate interests or whatever. But, and a lot of mistrust, like a lot has happened since 2019, but I wanted it more once I realized the stakes, once the intensity got picked up. I'm like, oh, this is cool because now it's important. I think I just felt things were too small for me, which is not the right attitude, because it's like, yeah, you feel like you're him, but you got to prove it. Otherwise, you're not. Otherwise, it's just fumes. So once I got to that last round, then I kind of really picked it up. And there are 10 news associates who are selected, and I was the 11th one. So I just like barely didn't make it.
Yeah.
Like I was the first one cut.
Yeah.
And everybody ahead of me that made it was from USC, like grad school, like, like all the degrees and all the stuff that like I'm like fundamentally against. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I got it no matter what. I don't need your degree, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what really bit me, because I'm like, damn, like I'm better than these people in terms of like my ability. I knew that, but it's like, well, that's not what it's about. It's about how bad do you want it and how bad can you prove your ability. If you can't do that, then it's not real. So that really bothered me, and that just like kind of got me back in my bag of like, all right, now I'm gonna lock in and like actually take it for real serious in their way, kind of play their game. So they offered me this similar rotational position at CNBC, which is like business news and stuff. And I'm like, damn, it's a downgrade. Like it's business. Like who cares about money and like tech or whatever? I don't care about that. I care about like the real news.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now suddenly I care so much about that other program.
Right.
But when I got to that program, I'm like, all right, like this is a good opportunity because I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about business, finance, or anything like that. And it's rotational. So I get to see what I like, what I don't like. So I got to do producing like live television. That is a whole different world. Like, that's crazy. It wasn't my speed necessarily. Like it was just intense all day, every day. And then this was right before COVID. So there was a lot leading up to COVID. And then once it actually happened, like for the markets, this was just like pure madness.
Right.
So I was there during that. it was really crazy.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, this is whatever, like rotational kid. And then I would be like at the stock market, like while all this stuff was going on, all these big interviews, all these CEOs and stuff like that. That showed me what I didn't want to do, but it showed me that there is like, okay, there's a lot here. There's like potential and there's like purpose. There's like meaning. There's something here. And so that just, drove me through the program. And then I eventually got hired to do social media for CNBC, and then further from there. But those moments of like intensity, and it's like, okay, these people are taking action. They're like for real doing something. That's what makes me want to like step up. Yeah. Because when it feels like it's all like bureaucratic and it's like, oh, this is just, us like applauding ourselves, it makes me not want to be a part of it. But I saw it's like, okay, this is actually change or like action. So I want to be a part of that. So that's when I stepped it up.
And I think like when you're in college or have these opportunities to try different things, I think it's so important because of one thing that you said, like it allows you to figure out what you don't like. And sometimes when you don't take the opportunity that might not be as attractive to you or just might not be exactly what you thought you wanted to do, you wouldn't know that about yourself, nor would you have had this really cool opportunity at a time where that was so important and there was like a spotlight that was being placed there. So that's, I think, something that I've experienced in my own life, like when I decided to take a job and move down south and do something and go someplace where I knew nobody, but had I not had that opportunity, I wouldn't have been able to take on the other roles that I did, hands down, from that space. So I think that's really important for students to kind of just get out of your comfort zone, try something new.
Got to.
And it sounds like that's what you were able to do almost with that
Yeah.
role.
I wouldn't say don't do something that is like fully like left field from what you do or what you want to do. If it's like vaguely related,
Yeah, if it's related, yeah.
and you can find some angle to learn, learning is always great.
Yes.
Learning is the priority, especially if you're in like college or like early career. I know it feels like there's the pressure to like get your job, make your money, like buy the house. It's like, yo, like it's not all that. Like you're learning. College is a privileged experience to be able to build on your educational foundation and also to build your network. That's largely what it's about. Yeah. It's building your network, finding the way that you lead or the way that you cooperate, and then
I like that.
Doing cool things.
Yeah, the way you lead or the way you cooperate.
That's
interesting. Cool. So I think some things that I hear from students all the time, especially when they're going into internships or they're starting work, is this idea of imposter syndrome, right? There's just a lot of it is new and different, especially if you're the first in your family to do anything. Like you said, there isn't a ton of support or someone who's gone through it before. So what was that like for you? Did you experience that? And what advice would you give to students who might be feeling that?
Yeah, well, the imposter syndrome thing is like, like a syndrome is something that shows symptoms, but it's not clear where the genesis of it is. And I think anybody who feels imposter syndrome, it's largely dependent on their context, their background, whatever their mindset is, their experience, what they look like. I mean, this is the United States. So in any setting, especially if it's professional or corporate, there's going to be an imposter syndrome feeling or a kind of base of that if you are not white, like straight up. Yeah. Like that's just how it is. Because in many ways you are an imposter. You're an exception to the rule, the corporate rule, which is white dominant. So if you feel that, you have to ask yourself why. And is that an insecurity or is that something that's like actually happening to you? A lot of people feel imposter syndrome because they feel as if their worth is less than what the role requires or something like that. I never felt like that, but I felt imposter syndrome with I am like the agent that's been in here like as like a spy and they don't realize it. Yes. Because I'm like, okay. I'm like trying to dismantle this whole thing. You know what I mean?
So, right. Agents, it's Rogue One, Star Wars,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I felt. I would always be trying to like feel out my allies. And I'm like, who just kind of gets it? Yeah. It's like, gets what? I'm not exactly sure. But there's this underlying essence of people that I seem to attract or build with. And back then, it was not common to find people like that. Yeah. Because I didn't really understand what it was. In corporate settings, I didn't really find it at all. In college, I certainly found it. I never felt imposter syndrome in college. Like, I was able to find friends, collaborators, creatives. Like, yeah. I went to St. John's in Queens. It's the most diverse school on earth because it's also in Queens, the most diverse place on earth.
Didn't J. Cole go to St. John's?
Yeah, right? That was our claim to fame.
Yeah.
So
right, keep going.
I found my people there, and I guess the imposter syndrome that I felt while in college is like, again, like all of y'all don't even know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing, and I have my people with me that know what they're doing, and they support me. Yeah. So like, if you feel different, that's you, not me. While I was in the corporate setting, it was a lot more tough, and I definitely felt like isolated a lot. I didn't feel too much like othered, like that sensation of feeling that. I think my work always spoke for itself, but I'm also not the type to be like, oh, I'm a, perform. Like, even it's like the performance notion, I'm like, damn, I get y'all have to like, satisfy margins and like a bottom line, but like, what is this really about? You know, like with news, it's like, isn't this supposed to be like purposeful and whatever? But it's like, it's not a startup, you know, like this is a corporation. I understand it now. It's kind of like a oxymoron, like purposeful news with corporate interests. Now we see how that doesn't work out.
Right.
But
yeah.
So I think, you know what, like right before COVID, like I said, is when I got this role. And then during COVID, things really felt weird because now it was like the whole DEI thing started popping up like in full force.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, like 2 weeks ago, y'all was not like this.
Right.
Like this was a different world.
Yeah.
So that part was just strange. And then afterward, it was just kind of like, all right, what is it that I want? If they're not purpose driven, if they don't have like a clear cause that they're about, what am I about? And that was a journey that took a long time to figure out. And I just think the imposter syndrome is a matter of like, it's all you. It's all in your head at the end of the day. Because really, people are not thinking about you like that. And if they are, it's more of like, how does this person affect me and my gains? Because I think there's a lot of like corporate competition of like, you know, promotions, the same role, whatever. I never really felt that, but it's like I see how that's a very prevalent thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess before we switch to kind of what motivated you to start this company and to kind of leave this setting, is there any opportunity, and maybe you talked about it already, that you had access to that you think was like a game changer for you when you were in college?
An opportunity? I mean, I'll just give unconventional answer. Like my idle time in college is what taught me what not to do, which is be idle. So I had the privilege to have time of not doing anything.
Yeah.
And while I was there, like it was like boring. It's like, oh, I'm bored, or like I have schoolwork, but like I don't feel like doing it. It's like, well, where is that? Like, what is that attitude? Like, where is that coming from?
Yeah.
It means you don't have any purpose. It's like, you don't know what you're about. So I know it's not like a clear like opportunity. Like, I guess it would be the internship.
Yeah.
Right. But the fact that I was able to have so much idle time that I spent really on doing nothing. I couldn't even tell you what I was doing. I don't even remember. But I do remember like, this is boring. I want more than this. And it's like, okay, but you weren't willing to do something about it.
So what do you think helped you figure out what your purpose was to be able to focus your time?
That came a lot later. That came like, so after I worked at CNBC, I went to Morning Brew, which it's not a startup anymore, but it was back then. And it's a business news company that delivers newsletters, content, events, and it's all driven around business news and tech and whatnot. So when I was there, I like really lost the plot. I'm like, all right, like this is a lot more lax than CNBC, but it's still like, it's about money and like whatever. I'm like, this is not, I don't care about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I kind of felt lost there. And then I got hired some other place. I got hired at a venture capital firm to do marketing for their portfolio companies, which is like, I didn't sell my soul knowledgeably, but like I basically sold my soul because like I made a lot of money to do stuff that literally was just like selling products. Like it's just, I know that's what a lot of people do. And in capitalism, it's kind of just like, yeah, you're getting your bag. And it's like, yeah, but my soul tax.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I
like,
still have to get up and do this every day. Like,
and I'm like on camera smiling. I'm like, bro, like, I don't know what they're doing with this money. They have a lot of money. So I just kind of learned that world, you know, like, so I learned the corporate world, and then I learned the startup world, and then the venture capital world. So it's like all the different levels of hell. And like the bottom floor was just enough. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do. And I took a long time to figure out like, what am I trying to do? Like I think it was like 4 years removed from college, from graduating college. Like, what did I set out to do in, freshman year of college? And is that the same thing now? Like, what is it? And really, I spent a lot of time idle. I wasn't doing anything, but I was mindful. And with all of that time to think and be aware and reflect, I became really self-aware. And I realized why I did things and why I didn't do things and why I was idle the first time and why I wasn't able to do anything about it. I spent a lot of time not communicating intentionally, which wasn't like, I'm not talking to any of y'all. It wasn't that. It was more just like, I'm going to take like almost like a vow of silence, like a monk or something like that. I did this for months. I turned off my cell service for 3 months.
So not talking to anybody.
Nobody.
Family, friends, just like work.
I mean, I guess like if they needed to correspond, like my phone just wasn't even working. So I wasn't talking to anybody.
Really interesting. Okay.
And I would just go on like really long walks, like for hours at a time with notebooks. Sometimes I would read a little bit, but it was really like me, like self-discovery, like sitting by the water, thinking about my life, not victimizing myself, not blaming other people, not like excusing anything. Like, who am I? What am I about?
Right.
Why am I? And what do I want next? It took me a while again to figure out the next. But once I figured out like, okay, like, this is knowledge of self. I can do a lot of different things. Now it's just, what do I want? So a little later down the line, I realized that newsletters are a really powerful catchment for anything that you do. And working at Morning Brew, I see how successful that can be as a business.
Right.
They started out as a newsletter, just one, sending it out once a day, wrapping up business from the week, from, like big events. But it was the very clear sign of I can do something that I'm good at, which is writing and communicating and, like connecting dots. And I can also make money off of it. And it's like a catchment, like I said, it's like a net under other things that I do. So I do a lot of things that involve like people, events, like coordinating people, media, like something like this. That would go in the net, like in the newsletter. And so using that, I can now do a lot of other stuff on top of that. And it'll always be like visible through the newsletter. People will always see the updates. People will always have the opportunity to like support something that I'm working on. If they want to, like buy something or like, work with an advertiser that I'm working with, whatever it is I'm doing, I have that foundation. So I realized that and I'm like, okay, well, once I have everybody's attention, what do I want to do with that? I know I like to help people. I think the best way to help people is to make them healthier or give them the opportunity to help themselves become healthier. And so I started a newsletter on health and happiness, just kind of those two basic foundations that I knew could include so many different things.
Yeah. So thinking about, you're now a founder of this newsletter, right? You've kind of taken a leap that some folks are either because of fear or because they are now used to a check, right? They wouldn't necessarily think to do, or they might be thinking or trying to develop their own plan before they make that kind of jump. So talk a little bit about what that was like when you were working 9 to 5 before you made that transition, and what made you feel like you were prepared to do that and start your own company.
So between working at the last company that I mentioned, which was a venture capital company, and starting the newsletter was, I think it was like 3 weeks, maybe a month of not working. And then I started doing content creation, like making ads, producing videos, just like a bunch of that sort of stuff. Being like brand ambassador and stuff like that. That pays bills. And I realized they were largely health related.
Okay.
And I was like, why is that happening? Because, like everything happens for a reason. Like there's nothing that's random.
Yes.
And when it's that specific, I'm like, I'm into this stuff. Like, this is kind of who I am. Like, I'm an athlete I grew up playing sports. I play sports a lot. Like that's what brings me joy. And I also know a lot about health. Like that's what I consume in my spare time is like health related content, science. It's a lot of my discussions. So I realized like, well, they're already reaching out to me and paying me to be an authority or whatever an influencer is on health. Mm-hmm. So why can't I do that myself? And so I did. So I built Down to Earth, which is health and happiness newsletter. And I started giving people advice, different tips on things that I've done, that I do to sleep better, eat healthier, be more social, be more productive, really anything. And then I started incorporating like stories from my life, lessons, like why things happen, like stories with morals. Like that's a big thing is like, if you want to be healthy, you probably also have to have like a healthy soul. Like they always say like your mind has to be healthy. It's like, yeah, we know that.
Inside. Yeah.
But deep down, like you got to have that too. So that just started really resonating with people. And I realized like, yo, I can build a business on this because people trust me, and you can monetize a newsletter. You can just, make it a paid newsletter or not. And then on top of that, you can incorporate advertising. I had already been doing that, building content with different partners and stuff like that. So then I realized on top of the newsletter, anything else that I do, monetized or not, that's going to be a part of it. And my base is going to get served the same thing. Mm-hmm. Whatever I'm doing, y'all are going to get it. So I started the newsletter with the idea of like, I'm going to build a business on just this. And I realized that it's not that easy. It's really not easy at all. But
no.
This is when I started learning a lot about personal finance and like opening up revenue streams and finding creative ways to make money. Like money is something that's kind of just like, it does kind of like grow like in a lab. Like if you, place it properly. So I just started doing that, like finding like different income streams to build the newsletter with. I'm like, I see that this is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Emails are not going nowhere. Like if the power grid shuts off or something like that, those social media companies, they go down sometimes. Email is not going to go down like that. I mean, like there probably is a way that it could. You get what I'm saying? Like this is as analog as we're going to get.
Yes.
So I started doing other things like the podcast and incorporating that into the newsletter. And I realized like, oh, people don't just like what I'm talking about. They actually like me. They like how I'm saying certain things, or like what I'm saying, but because I'm saying it. And that's what a brand is. Like you are your brand. So I just started developing the brand more into like, okay, this is me and this is what I'm about. Here's what my world is through the lens of my newsletter, my podcast. And then I eventually realized like, if you have products that are not just content, you can really build and make money.
Like what? What are you thinking about?
It really depends on what your skill set is. But for me, it's coaching, it's courses, events. So I started building the foundations for those as well. So I started doing media literacy events, just kind of like networking and getting people together, but also like tangible skills. I do hikes. I've been doing a hiking club for about a year.
Love the hikes.
Yeah. And so what I'm trying to do with events like that is like, okay, well, I have people that show up. I have people that are willing to participate. How can we take that to another level? People always make it seem like, oh, how do you monetize? How do you, like convert? And it's like, well, you're going to get that if that's all you want. But if you want more than that, and including that, you got to get creative and like really, you have to really serve people. You have to give them something. What do you get when you come on one of my hikes? You get community. Like that's a guarantee. I know who's coming to these hikes. Like these are my people. You're not going to get some false bill of goods. You're not just going to get like, oh, I showed up to this run club and it was a lot of people, but I didn't really click with anybody. Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's very valuable. And I began to realize that is very scarce in this society, and that's where the money is going to be at if that's the priority, but also the social capital is going to be within these smaller niches or networks. So events, content, a lot of the organizing work that I've been doing, that's all in the newsletter. And then, like I said, like products, like merchandise is coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Some down to earth.
Yeah.
Hats, sweatshirts, got it. Okay.
Yeah. I had made like some towels and bandanas and stuff like that.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, people
yeah.
people are asking me about these because, people like to buy stuff.
Right. And they want to represent the brand and talk about
especially
it.
Especially if they understand what it's about. It's like, well, if you
right.
get it, yeah, you're going to want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
So now what I'm building is kind of like an educational hub of teaching people how to live healthier, but in a more tangible, like takeaway sort of way, like courses that you can download, a lot of visuals. But really the biggest thing is Master Your Sleep, which is something that I'm releasing, which is coaching for sleep. It's like a life coach.
Okay.
I'm going to be on you about your sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Teaching you the different skills and tips and tricks. Like there's so many intricacies that go into quality sleep, and sleep is the foundation of your waking life.
Right.
And it's something that's like so ignored. And in fact, it's like, there's like a badge of honor of like being underslept and burnt out. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah. It's just a sign of imbalance. And it's a sign of like your body, like aching out for rest, like
right.
just, quality rest. So being able to help people in that way, in a very tangible way, like it's me and you going over a plan to help you get better. And also, monetizing it and building a client base. Of like, well, this is what I've been doing for 2 years now, which is like serving content, making events that, bring people together, and, just making people get it, right? Yeah. And giving them what they want, what they've been looking for. And now it's like, okay, well, what more do you want for yourself and from yourself? Because I can probably help you get that. I can't tell you what it is, but if you're well slept, you're going to make a better decision on what that is.
Okay, so for students who can tend to be chronically underslept, what is one thing that a student can do to maybe improve their sleep?
Turn your lights off at 9:00. Yeah.
The lights.
Like, so this overhead light mimics the sun. Like our eyes can't tell the difference between the photons of the sun and of this light bulb. Yeah. And the fact that it's overhead, your eye has different sensors for when it's overhead versus under your eye. So if you have lights on that are low, that are dim, or candles, that's going to actually ease you into sleep once the sun goes down. If you have like bright white, like
the big lights, as Tiffany calls
overhead,
them.
like you're going to be awake.
Yeah.
The science of it is like the blue light is what keeps you awake. Red light, infrared is what puts you to sleep. So like candles, red light is like slower, warmer, eases you into sleep. Blue and white is like cold and harsh and like fast. Okay. That's by far the biggest one.
Okay.
And also like use your phone less, because these kids, but
go to sleep with your phone and then wake up with your phone. Right.
Like I have like the images of my sister burned in my brain of like her falling asleep with the phone like this. I'm like, yo.
Yeah. Not only do we not know anything about the radiation that's causing, but it's like everything that you're scrolling through potentially on your phone and then like trying to sleep. It's the same way of like falling asleep in front of the TV.
Yeah, it's just so much stimulation. Like, remember it was like, oh, don't stand close to the TV, or like no more than an hour of TV tonight. It's like, yo, like we be on our phones OD.
Yes.
Like the parents now. That's another story. Like they're caught up, and those were the ones that were like no more than an hour of TV. It's like, yeah, let's look at your screen time.
Right, exactly. Because you're on your portable screen right now. Yes, exactly.
But sleep is everything, for real. Like it really is. Like I can't tell you what's important, what's not, but sleep is here for a reason. Like, why is it that humans would have evolved for 8 hours of paralyzed immobility at night if it weren't super important? Like we shed all the other things that are not that important, but it's like, no, this one has to stay. 8 8 hours of, being very vulnerable. Obviously it's really important. And so that's why we still have it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting way to think about it. And we'll definitely encourage the students to check out what you're about to launch, because I think it's the start of your day.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a good night, how are you going to have a good morning? So
yeah, the productivity, your mood above all, like it's just quality of life. Like,
yeah.
I think people have forgotten about quality of life since COVID, since the quality of life went down a lot during that point. Since we've rebounded, the quality of life is not there, whether it's socially, just poor habits kind of like mess this up. But it's like, well, a lot of it is that you've accepted a baseline that's much lower than what it used to be. A lot of that is like shallow breathing, poor sleep, poor diet. So, that's kind of some of the stuff that I'm just trying to reverse.
Yeah. So, and I'm hearing you talk about a thread of, like you're saying, health and happiness, and then all of these like intersecting ways that you're able to now engage with your community through this. And I found myself doing something similar where it's like, okay, there's a thread here. Even if I'm doing, and it looks like I'm doing 4 or 5 different things, I know what the central theme is. And once you figure out what that is for yourself, you're less likely to be bothered by what anybody else is saying, because you know how everything works together and how it's gonna go out, like essentially what your goals are and where you're trying to get to. And I think that's something that some students struggle with, because they're still trying to figure out what their purpose is or what that central theme is. And I think it takes time too. It's not going to just happen in college.
No.
But life is long, and you have time to figure out what that looks like, independent of what somebody else might be telling you should be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, purpose should take a little bit. Like, you're probably not going to find that in college. Like, when I was in college, like, I was thinking like, I'm going to be the next Malcolm X. I'm going to be that no matter what. Like, I got it. It's already happening. But, I mean, that's not a purpose, Like, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I mean, we obviously have a lot of issues in America and in the Black community and whatnot. But that's not a specific purpose. It's like, I want to be somebody. I want to, like, have a voice. Okay, but what you going to talk about? Like, what's going to be your thing? Yeah. And so, like, that, after all the stuff that we talked about, that's when I found it. Like, I didn't know what it was going to be about. And I realize now that it's like, I like to find that common thread that's all the way at the bottom. Like, the catchment again. Like, the newsletter is a metaphor for it. But then again, health is a metaphor for everything that goes under everything. Health is wealth. They always say that. And wealth is not just financial stability, but it's this thorough quality of life, of being a human, of just enjoying every moment and not having worry, not having anxiety, fear, doubt, pain, suffering. Like, those things are kind of optional if you find wealth in spirit and in health. So that's my way of, like, finding my own purpose, is to give others that sort of stability to be themselves. Because that's what it is too, is like, I'm never going to try and tell people how to be. I love that people are different. I just want them to be the best. I want them to have the opportunity to give themselves the best position to succeed. I think right now a lot of people are really unhealthy, and that's not their best. And yeah, everyone's different, but it's like, is that really you if you're like under all these shackles of like pain and anxiety? It's like, well, let's see what you're like outside of that. And that's what I want to see. Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with my cousin about this too the other day, just listening to, like, recognizing the difference between the voices in your head. Like, the one that's telling you, go to bed on time. You know what? Actually, go get that homework done tonight. Don't wait till tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. when you think you're going to be able to do it. Like, there's just, and it's so funny because that happens in college around that time, but it also happens in your adult life. So you have to build those strong habits and skills from then, because everything that you're doing today is going to impact how you're living 10 years from now.
In college, it's by far the most foundational and fundamental time to set your life up, because you have freedom. What you do with your freedom is for real who you are.
Yeah.
They always say like a king shows his true nature when he has power and whatnot. Yeah, it's true. But freedom and liberty, what you do with that, that's who you are. If you slack off entirely, well, you know, it's time to look in the mirror and be like, well, why are you so comfortable with being comfortable? Mm-hmm. If you overwork yourself and don't allow yourself a moment to breathe, look in the mirror and ask why you're scared to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
If you're balanced and you're able to be self-aware and notice like, okay, this night I kind of slacked off, or I missed that homework, but it's okay because I'm learning from it, then you're in a really good spot because you're able to be self-aware and learn from your mistakes. Mm-hmm. That's what freedom is, right? Like, life is not a box, you know, like there's boundaries you can draw yourself, but really when you have freedom, you're just like doing whatever you want, or you're doing whatever you think you should do. And in college, I think you find the balance between that. It's like, oh, you can certainly do whatever you want, but is whatever you want the same thing as like what you should do? And figure out what you want, figure out what you think your should is. Mm-hmm. You know, because it's not like, oh, you should be a lawyer. Like, it doesn't have to be that. Mm-hmm. It can be like, well, you know, you should prioritize going to sleep earlier or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
While still also, you know, going to a friend's party. Like, it's balancing those things. Yeah. That's what you do with your freedom. At least I think that's the best way to approach it.
Yeah. What is the nicest or kindest thing that someone has ever done for you?
I hadn't reviewed this question prior to the interview.
And the end of this is on your career journey, but yeah, so.
Oh, okay. That narrows it down a little bit.
Thinking about like just one of the things that we always tell our students is that there's this cycle of kind of giving back, right? You come into the program, you get a scholarship, you are, you know, benefiting from professional development, maybe some type of coaching, but then we also expect you to do that for somebody else. So sometimes I just like to ask that question to see like what's something that's been done for you.
Okay, I have an answer. So when I was working at CNBC, I was working on the social media team, and my boss, Laura Edwins, she was ride or die for me with all my creative ideas. And in hindsight, like that was a huge privilege. That's not like the most creative environment, but I'm a really creative person, and she recognized that. And she would always mention that. She would always be like, I know you're creative. Like I see that you have this creativity. So when I would pitch projects, she would always kind of like, yeah, go ahead and see how that works out. Mm-hmm. But when I had this idea to pitch Reddit to CNBC, NBC had never had a partnership with Reddit. And I had this idea of making a sports business subreddit, and therefore creating a partnership between NBC and Reddit. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And you can spearhead the communication, you can spearhead the pitch with Reddit and then with NBC. And she was fully there in support of the entire thing. And all along the way, everybody was like, yeah, that's a great idea. We're trying to expand, but we're also trying to, you know, like start small. On Reddit, you can kind of start small. It's like community based. Mm-hmm. So she really supported that entire thing. And, you know, it's, I think some people might take stuff like that for granted, but being in that position, you know, kind of feeling like an imposter, having somebody like that to support me in something that was kind of like, it could have been out of left field for some people. Yeah. Like, what is this? Like, what is Reddit? Like, it's so random. But I saw a lot of value in it, and I think she just trusted me. And that meant a lot, because not only was it a success, but it just made me feel really good, you know, to accomplish something like that. And in that setting, especially, like I said, I did feel that imposter syndrome of like, yeah, like we're like oil and water, like me in this place. Like, they have a lot of fire and energy and passion, but for different things. We're never going to see eye to eye on stuff. And it was like, that was kind of the manifestation of, you know, this effort and, you know, kindness creating an opportunity. So I'm really grateful for that. And she's always been super supportive of me throughout all the stuff that I do. So That was really big.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like community is so important. Like,
Oh yeah, Reddit is the community
Yeah.
platform. And interestingly enough, I mean, that was 2019. Reddit IPO'd. It's a public company
Yeah.
as of last year. And it keeps going up. And I always knew that it was going to do that because I'm like, well, social media is not community based anymore. So the platform that's community based, like, it's definitely going to blow up.
yeah. It at first reminded me of Yahoo Answers.
Yeah, yeah. And like Quora and stuff like that.
Yeah, like in the beginning where you literally could just go scroll through and just, address.
And then now they have it, like, the subreddits are communities, like, of things that are very, very niche sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, well, if you want a community to talk with real humans about stuff that's random or, more general, you can go there.
Yeah.
That's really valuable.
Right.
So,
Right.
I think she saw that too. And it was just good foresight.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And I feel like, especially when you're in college or even if you're a young professional, like finding that space where you can bounce ideas off someone or you can get real feedback to help you just grow. People who are really just invested in you, whether they're an official mentor or not, especially,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mentorship is mad important.
Yes. Yes, for sure. So speaking of mentorship, last question, which is the one we ask every guest here, is just if you had to boil down your experiences to kind of like a single piece of advice or just something that you wish you knew when you were in college, what would that be in relation to your career journey?
So I'll break it up into two because I think my advice is a little unconventional sometimes.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, no, it can definitely apply to some people, but I wish I knew in college that you can be a part of clubs and organizations and it's not lame.
Yeah.
It's not a waste of your time or whatever I was thinking.
But you kind of started your own, though.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of like, the underlying theme here is like, I just be doing my own thing. But I think that's my piece of advice is like, if you have that sense of belief, don't stop at anything. Yeah. Like, for real, go all out on whatever you believe in. Find that one thing and just drive it into the ground. Like, if you believe in yourself and your mind, I think above all, like, you're going to be successful in something. You just got to find what it is and be relentless. Like, I'm not saying like grind out all the hours and like whatever, like believe in yourself. Like, who am I? Where do I come from? What am I good at? What am I not good at? What are your strengths and how can you leverage your strengths to advance yourself and to advance other people around you, which is, I think, the way you should do it, like build up a community, not just be like, I'm gonna get my bag and forget about everybody.
Right.
Like, that's a big thing too. It's like, nah, like,
no,
have a bigger picture in mind and then never stop believing in your vision in the process.
Okay. Love that. Awesome. Really great advice for all of our students. Thank you, Red, so much for joining us today on the Scholar's Guide and this particular series of What I Wish I Knew. We loved having you.
Thank you for having me. It was great to finally be on the other side of the mic.
Yes.
For once.
Yes.